And Shedeur is him. Shedeur is cool, calm, collected. He's been bred for this. He's been trained for this. He's a Shedeur Sanders.
There's no doubt who to go with. You'll be a fool not to pick him.
I want a ball, and I need you to be running across.
Rhythm, timing, ball placement. He's all pro at.
They came for the show. They know we go big or go home.
I came up with a comp for Shedeur, Joe Montana.
All I need is opportunity. Simple.
Pulling up, making noise. Number one, ain't no choice.
I think he's going to be a quarterback you win a lot of games with.
So in the aftermath of Colorado's NFL showcase on Friday, a player-led debate ensued about the fact that Shedeur Sanders patted the football before throwing it. Now, Jets safety Andrew Sisko got it started. He said Shedeur, and I quote, "Better stop patting that ball. We breaking on that early." And then Giants receiver Darius Slayton responded. He posted this on X, and I quote, "I promise he can pat the ball and be just fine. If DBs was so good at breaking on ball pats, they'd all have 8+ picks a year. Same guys that fall for a two-man dagger concept and give up the dig on 3rd and long every season, all season long. Talking about a ball pat, what a joke."
Hey, I didn't know it got that serious.
And then Micah Parsons weighs in and he says, "You realize pat on the ball can be the difference between a sack or a throwaway / completion." And then Slayton responds and he says, "Tom Brady, literally the king of getting the ball out fast, patted the ball when he threw. So actually, no, patting the ball is not the difference." So I hope you're applauding my reading, my interpretation of the comments.
We have a
on X.
translator right here, though.
Let's talk a little football.
Dan the man. There you
Appreciate
go. You got
the fellas.
ball. You got the ball right there.
Yeah, so-
is this a thing? Is this something
No.
we should even care about?
No. So the way I would say it is patting the football has been around for a long time. Some of the great quarterbacks in the NFL have patted the football. Dan Marino, John Elway, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford. It matters for some, and it doesn't matter for others. So the ones that it doesn't matter for, they have a couple traits. One, elite arm strength or a lightning quick release. That's a player like Aaron Rodgers. Elite arm strength, Josh Allen. Or they play with remarkable anticipation and ball placement. So the patting the football is nothing new. It doesn't matter to most guys. Now, the ones who it does matter to, average to below average arm strength.
Yep.
Or it takes you a long time to see it happen in the NFL, to see the window open or shut. Or you have average anticipation and ball placement. That's when it's going to matter. I do not think Shedeur falls into that group for the most part. If you want to have a conversation about arm strength, we could probably have that one. That would be the only moment. Or quick game. Quick game. So, every quarterback does it because this is a timing mechanism. It's like an indicator. Quick game meaning like 1, 2, 3, and throw. You don't want to do 1, 2, 3, throw, and then have a very long release. Then guys will jump it. But I think this is more often something that or nothing than something.
Right, so it's not only it's only an indicator for defensive players who are thinking to themselves, I might have a pick six, but it's also part of the overall operation in that finite period of time that your offensive line can block for you, or the route concept is designed to be thrown at. And so I didn't hear one person at the pro day saying, "You watching that padding right now from Shedeur Sanders?" He's been doing it for his whole life. Very successfully, I should note as well. The thing that continues to come up, both in watching him myself and talking to people around the NFL that are trying to decide how high he will go in the draft, is playing urgently in the pocket. You can talk about the offensive line and how it wasn't very good at Colorado. He also led the FBS in sacks taken last year. I don't care who it is playing in front of you. It's a quarterback and it's an offensive line stat when you're talking about sacks taken. It's not just taking a sack, but sometimes, Dan, there's such a critical difference between taking a sack that turns it into 2nd and 14 and a sack that turns it into 2nd and 21. Your play caller does not have a bunch of plays lined up for 2nd and 21. They can find their way out of a relatively small hole that is 2nd and 14. That's something that every young quarterback has to learn, but especially one that is not this dynamic athlete, Mina, who can find his way out of trouble with his legs.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Shedeur Sanders had a time to throw of nearly 3 seconds last year. I think that's got to come down. And it's not because of the padding, though. I want to be clear. It's mostly because of what Field is describing, which was the drifting that pulls up that average on certain plays. I think it matters a lot for him, Dan, specifically because I believe the type of offense that Shedeur should play in for him to have success in the NFL is the Shanahan offense, because he has those skills, the toughness, the accuracy, the ability to throw over the ball of the field. But when you think about the quarterbacks who are successful in those offenses, Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa, I heard you mention last week, Brock Purdy, the ball comes out real quick.
Totally.
He has to be a machine in the NFL. And I think whether or not he can bring down that time to throw and play quickly is going to be the single biggest determinant of whether he's successful in the league.
I mean, so Adam, what are you hearing in that regard? And in terms of potential concerns about taking Shedeur?
Well, I think all these issues are on the table. And I think we've heard Mel say he's Joe Montana. Did I not hear Mel Kiper say Shedeur Sanders is Joe Montana there?
We're going to talk about that later.
Was he not your top?
Early Joe Montana, Adam. We got a Joe Montana coming out of college. That Joe Montana.
Okay. And again, I guess I would ask Dan, is that something that quarterbacks learn to get rid of the ball quicker, or is that something that quarterbacks cannot learn and something that they then wind up playing with in the NFL?
Yeah, you could definitely learn it, but you got to imagine this. Shedeur's probably been throwing this way for the better part of 10 years. So he's got tens of thousands of reps throwing in that capacity. So it's something that you can get quicker and make a little bit more of a stronger part of your game. The padding thing I do find interesting because Cam Ward pats the football. The difference is, and it's kind of what you were talking about, Field, is like when Cam Ward goes to throw, it's like this, bang, bang. Like it's a quick trigger. It's pat and get out. Where Shedeur is a little bit of like a pat. And it happens faster. The one part of the conversation I find a little bit more prevalent is the Micah part of it. When Micah's like, hey, patting the ball could be the difference between when a quarterback pats it and goes to throw it and that arm coming around, more so than the corner jumping it. That being said, and Mina brought it up, there's moments when I watch Shedeur, I'm like, get rid of the ball. And then moments I'm like, man, that pocket navigation is fantastic. And so just doing that more consistently, I think negates a lot of that conversation.
Yeah, and I guess this is all just part of the draft process. It's dissecting the prospects, figuring out what they do and don't do well. And it just seems like people are predisposed to really scrutinize Shedeur Sanders, who Mel Kiper compared to Joe Montana, and who has been rated throughout the year. He was, I thought, the #1 quarterback prospect. And all of a sudden, there's been the shift. Cam Ward's jumped up. People are still going after Shedeur. It's just very interesting to me how this has all evolved, as it always does, leading up to the draft.
Yeah, I just think when you think about the quarterback and like the type of offense that he needs to thrive in the NFL, that's where we can start saying, okay, where exactly does he have to get better? The comparison with Ward is really useful because Ward also has a long time to throw, pardon me, but he's so athletic. One, he can get out of jams. Two, Dan, you talked about, he's a creative thrower of the football. He can throw from different arm slots and the ball comes out quick. Shedeur, Dan, to my eye, has a little bit of a more elongated throwing motion. It's a little bit more mechanical. And that's why I think speed matters more for him. I'm not saying he can't be successful in the NFL. I just think that time to throw has got to come way down.
Yeah, we have some new video on this. Actually, this is new on NFL Live.